If we want to treat our author career like a business, one of the things that we have to do is we have to make the decision to not reinvent the wheel. We have to make the decision to not reinvent the wheel because there are already authors who have executed at a really high level exactly what you want to accomplish. If you're someone that says, I have a single standalone book that I really just want to market extremely well to make sure that it reaches as many people as possible so that it can have as big of an impact as possible, there are authors who have done that. If you're someone that wants to write an entire series of books and you want to write 10, 15 books in the coming years, have one book linked to the next, have a strong sell-through rate, there are authors that have done that. If you want to build a speaking career on the back of your book, if you want to build a high-ticket offer, whatever you're looking to do, there are authors that have already done this at an extremely high level. And if we want to get to the spot where we accomplish everything we can, learning lessons from those who have come before us and being a student of the game and seeing what works well for those authors can leave some breadcrumbs of things that we can follow. So we're going to talk about a few things today in this part. We're going to talk about the path towards mastery in whatever you're looking to accomplish in your author career. The first thing that we need to do if we want to become a student of the game, truly a student of the game, where we don't just learn at conferences, we don't just learn, one-off here and there, but we're a student of the game throughout the entire year, is we need to first find authors that you wish to emulate. Find authors that you wish to emulate. So find authors that have already accomplished what you want to accomplish. Find authors that have already walked down that path. Now, here's the thing I would really encourage you to do. Just because you like an author doesn't mean that that author might be someone that you want to emulate. You might look at what they do and ultimately come to the conclusion, you know what? I love their content. I love their speaking. I love that author. And what they've built actually is not really what I'm looking to build. And that's okay. So you really want to study these authors that you're drawn to, see what they're doing, and find the ones that over time have built what you are looking to build. Find authors that you wish to emulate. Now, I would encourage you, taking notes right now, I would encourage you to find 3 types of authors, all right, that you wish to emulate. The first is the author that is already there. So if you're saying, I would love to build something like what Amy Porterfield has built. I would love to build this course-based program, speaking, podcast, all of these things. And they're there, like tens of millions of dollars of revenue. Like I would like to build that eventually. And then what you need to do is you also need to zoom back a little bit and say, who's the person that's maybe a few less steps down that road? Who's the author that has launched their first course? It's going well. But maybe it's someone that's in multiple 6 figures of revenue, not quite tens of millions of dollars of revenue, and it's a little bit less built out. And then find the author that maybe has recently launched their first course, and it's gone well. It's gone well. They've built what you want to build, and they're in those early stages, but it's going well. They ran their first webinar. They've done $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 of revenue from it. You've seen the success leaves clues, but they're a little bit closer. If you'll be able to find authors you wish to emulate that are a couple steps ahead of where you're at currently, and then a little bit farther ahead, and then ultimately quite a bit farther ahead, what's going to happen is by studying these authors, and what they are doing everywhere, this is going to give you a really good model for how should I think about my author career? How should I think about my author career? And then what we need to do is we need to prioritize and execute. Prioritize and execute. So we need to say, out of all of these things, I'm looking at their author website, I'm looking at their social media profile, I'm looking at the ads that they run, I'm looking at all of these things, the offer that they have. What should I start with first? Which of these items do I feel like would move the needle most right now? What could I take action on next week, next month, this quarter, that would move the needle fastest in my author career? Because you're going to find a lot of things. You're going to find a lot of things that are working at a very high level for these authors. And what you need to ask yourself is, what am I equipped to do first, best, and will be most impactful? Prioritize the order in which you want to roll these things out, and then execute. So what I'm going to do right now, over the course of the next 40 minutes we have together, is we are going to go through and we are going to talk about the different things that you want to study. The different things that you want to study if you're looking to build this author career. So the first thing that I would encourage you to look at, is social media. Social media. All right? So in social media, there's a handful of things. There's a handful of things I would encourage you to look for. One is you want to ask yourself, what platforms are these authors on? What platforms are these authors on? Because not every platform is right for every author or genre. There are some types of books that do great on Facebook. There are some where it makes a ton of sense to be active on LinkedIn. There are some that could really do well on TikTok. By looking at where these authors, who are already along the path of where you want to go, By seeing where they choose to post, it's going to give you clues as to what platforms might be best for you if you have related content or related mission. I would look at frequency. How often are they posting? How often are they posting and on what cadence? Are they the type of person that is posting twice a day, crazy active? Are they posting 3 times a week? Frequency. Their content. What type of content are they posting? Are they doing a lot of reviews from their book? Are they doing a lot of images of just motivational quotes? Are they doing polls? Are they posting original content, or is it more reposts of articles that they think that their audience might really enjoy? Are there many calls to action in their social media where it's trying to direct them towards a free resource or even something that they could purchase? Or do they not do any CTAs on social media? What type of content do they post? Do they run any ads? Do they run any ads on social? Because here's the thing about social media advertising. Profitability varies wildly. There are some types of books and some types of offers that you can do very well on in Facebook. There are some types of offers that you can do really well with on LinkedIn. And there are some where you're going to get absolutely crushed on one of those. For us, Facebook advertising is extremely profitable for selfpublishing.com. We've experimented with LinkedIn. And are there a ton of authors that we would love to reach on LinkedIn? Are there a ton of business professionals that should write a book and would be an amazing target for us? Absolutely. And yet, as we have tried to run ads on there, and as we have treated this like a business, tracked our ROI, seen exactly how much it costs us to acquire a customer, and then the value of that customer, it wasn't profitable. And so we don't do LinkedIn advertising. And so what's going to happen, now that might not be true for you. LinkedIn might be great. So if you are studying authors that are in your genre, if you're studying authors who have already accomplished what you're looking to accomplish, and you see where they're advertising, it's probably going to give you some clues into places that might work well for you. Email marketing. This picture cracked me up. I was thinking, what will get more people to click on things than a cat? And so if a cat is actually reading an email, it felt perfect to me. So email marketing. We need to make sure that if you're going to do this, that you do it well and that people are actually opening your emails and enjoying them. So things to consider. Now, first of all, before you can consider any of these things, subscribe to several newsletters. Subscribe to their email list. Any of these authors that you wish to emulate, follow all of them. And then read their emails. Don't just follow and then get the emails and delete them immediately. See their subject lines. See their content. Take a look and see what's the ratio of value add content in their email versus sales copy. There are some email lists where it's purely value. It is 100% things that they think their audience will benefit from. And they don't do any selling in the email. And they trust that those people are going to also visit their website and blogs and eventually become customers. Perhaps you see someone and it's more like 50-50. Value add content, email content that's more of a CTA, to take an action, to join a webinar, to buy a thing. What's their ratio of value to sales? How do they weave in story? What types of emails? Is it more of informational, fact-based, or is it more narrative in style? What type of emails do they write? Do they do long-form emails where it's almost like a blog post? It is a pretty long email, and yet, even if that's not effective for email marketing, if someone has subscribed to your newsletter and the type of business you're looking to build, the type of author brand you're looking to put out there in the world, if the people that you are looking to emulate do pretty long-form emails, it's probably a relatively good indication that that's working for them. That putting out longer emails that are just very informative, that they're actually getting read. Otherwise, this highly successful person would probably have stopped doing it. So are they doing long-form emails? Are they doing content roundups? Taking a look at their email and saying, what's working for these people that are at the top of their game? Success leaves clues. How many of you at times are intimidated by the idea of an author website where it's like, okay, oh my gosh, where do I even begin with this? So often when I talk to people and I'll talk to aspiring authors, and I think they think their author website has to be this monumental thing where you're like the scientist staring off and it's like, where do I even begin? What do I even do? How do I prioritize what to put on here, where to go, right? So here, there are a handful of elements that you need to consider. So I would encourage you, find some of those websites. Find some of those websites of the people that you want to emulate. People that, first of all, again, are closer to where you are. They're only a couple of steps down the path. Their website is probably where you want to start. And then eventually you'll probably build out your website to the person that is a few steps ahead, and then eventually to the Amy Porterfield. Elements of the website that I would really encourage you to look at as you're becoming a student of the game, as you're studying what's working. The first thing I would look at is layout. So just the general design. How busy is the website? How many different elements are there? Is it crowded or is it a lot of open space? Just looking at the general layout. The nice part about web design nowadays and building landing pages is there are so many templates that you can choose from, so many templates that are really well designed, that if you find a layout that you like, you can probably find a template that mirrors it pretty closely. So look at the layout. See the blog content and the frequency. Not every website has a blog. If you find that all these authors don't choose to have a blog, probably pretty good indication that you're going to waste your time if you have one. But if you find that all 3 of them have a blog and they're relatively active, might be worth considering. How often do they post? Is this very inactive, once a month, and it's really for just a big topic? Or are they posting weekly, twice a week, daily? How often are they posting? What type of content do they put out there in the world? Is this helpful so far? Is this making sense to everybody of how we can be a student of the game? Yeah? Good. This is a much more technical part. Call to action buttons. Call to action buttons. So do you have something that you're giving away? Is there some action you're looking for them to take? Style of the button, color scheme. What do the words in the button say? How do they entice people to take action? How high on the website do they have them? Is there a call to action? Is there a CTA right up towards the top? Is it a little bit more in the middle of their website? Is it closer to the bottom? All of these things, as you become a student of the game and you say, what's working for other people and how can I do more of what already works? How can I do more of what already works? Newsletter subscription forms. Do they have a newsletter? How do they entice people into it? Lead magnets. What kind of lead magnets do they have? Because as we try to brainstorm what could be a high converting lead magnet for me, if you look and say, well, this person is in my genre, this person is serving the audience I wish to serve, clearly whatever lead magnets they're creating, probably they've seen holds value. Otherwise, they would have kept testing things. And obviously, you're not copying their lead magnet. You're not making the same thing they've already made. But thinking about similar, if some type of journal seems to be doing well for them, you should probably create some type of journal of your own. If it's more of a checklist or a PDF that walks them through A, B, and C, then your own version of that for whatever your specialty is. What kind of lead magnets do they have? Let's turn our eyes to publicity. So we talked a little bit about this in my part yesterday. Ask yourself these questions. Are they doing any kind of in-person events? Are they doing any kind of in-person events? So these might be speaking at conferences, retreats, book signings. Do they do any guest blog posts? This is a great way just Googling that person and seeing some of the other things that come up, not just their website, but going into page 2, page 3, seeing any other places that they show up on the internet. Do they do any guest blog posts? If they do, it might be not a bad idea for you to do that for your author business. Volunteer to do a guest blog post for them. Maybe you do a blog exchange. And then like we talked about yesterday, now you're getting a backlink from that website back to yours, and you're increasing the search engine optimization for your own site. What podcasts have they been on? What podcasts have they been on? If you simply Googled podcasts that Amy Porterfield has been on, you probably will come up with a decent number of podcasts that Amy Porterfield has been on. But another good way to do that after doing the Google search, go to their social media feed. Go to their social media feed and just scroll. Just scroll for the last 2, 3, 4 months, however far back you want to go. Because when someone, especially an influencer, has been on a podcast, they're almost always going to post a link to the podcast once that episode comes out. Almost always. And so if you just go back to social media, you can actually go through and see all the different podcasts that they have appeared on. And then you look up those podcasts and you do exactly what we talked about yesterday, which is you say, which of these are the more the BC pod level podcasts where they have some bigger name guests, but they also have some guests that are a little bit closer to where I'm at in the author journey. And then those are great ones to reach out to. Great ones to reach out to. All right, the next thing we want to look at is paid ads. So where do we choose to spend our advertising dollars? Where do we choose to spend our advertising dollars? And one of the things that I think is the biggest misconception about paid ads is so often, I'm going to show you this picture cracked me up. So paid ads, I feel like a lot of people think that paid ads are a lot like the lady on the left here. It's a slot, it's totally just luck. Right? This is, I'm just going to put money into Amazon, cross my fingers, and just hope to God that it results in money coming back to me. Whereas what I will tell you is that paid ads are a lot more like poker. Anyone in the chat know the difference between a slot machine and poker? What's the difference between a slot machine and poker? Tell me in the chat. No? Anyone? Who's the first person? Yeah, Joel said skill, luck versus strategy. One takes thought. Yes, exactly. And so what happens is there's a reason why there are quite literally professional poker players, because it is a game of skill where you're playing against other people, and eventually the better players do win money over the long term. Now, here's the thing. Do the best poker players sometimes lose some money? Yeah, absolutely. On an individual game of poker, they might lose, they might win, but over a long enough period of time. And with paid ads, it's very similar, is that on a given day, on a given week, your ads might go up and down, and that's normal, so there is variance. But if we are a student of the game, if we take a look at all of these opportunities, Amazon ads, BookBub ads, social media advertising, if we look at Google ads, and we say, okay, these authors in my genre, with my topic, with my ultimate goals, are choosing to advertise on Amazon. I see their ads pop up when I go on there. They're choosing to use BookBub. I get their emails. I see it on social media. Then it's leaving breadcrumbs that those might be profitable places for you to consider as well. Now, if this author, you never see ads for them on social media, and this is someone you follow, if you follow them, you go to their website frequently, you're on their blog, and you don't see ads for them, pretty good chance they don't advertise on that platform. Because the way Google works is they're tracking all your traffic, and if you've landed on this website, they're going to show you those ads, right? Because you know that they're engaged with that content. So by looking and seeing where do they choose to spend their ad dollars, it's not a bad indication of where you might want to consider spending yours. Now again, coming back to yesterday, treating this like a business, you have to measure your true ROI and figure out, are these ads profitable for me? Now, don't do this on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. I think it's more like every 2 weeks, once a month. If you're looking at your ads every single day, it's almost like looking at the stock market every day, where there's going to be variance, and you'll drive yourself crazy if you look at the stock market every single day and ask, is it working? Whereas if you say, all right, let's take a little bit of a longer timeline on this and see if it's working or if it's not. Let's talk reader engagement. What does the authors do to get reader engagement? Do they run any type of contests? Do they have any quizzes? Quizzes are an incredible way to drive engagement with your readers. People love taking quizzes and getting the results. Do they do any form of giveaways? Maybe it's a free copy of their book, whatever it might be. Do they do any free giveaways? Any things that you can emulate? Success leaves clues. Do they do Q&As? If you get to a certain spot where you have a large enough audience, where if you send out an email saying, hey, I'm doing a live Q&A Wednesday evening at 7, and it's a large enough email list that you feel confident that it's going to drive enough people that it's worth doing, Q&As are a great way to drive reader engagement, because ultimately our goal with reader engagement is we want to build a community around what you're doing. We want to build a community instead of just consumers. If they're just consumers, they're reading your book, hopefully their lives are being impacted, that's fantastic. But if we can build community, if they feel like they have gotten a chance to get to know you through reader engagement, that takes us to the next level. Seeing how these successful authors that you would like to emulate drive reader engagement can go such a long way. Cross promotions. So cross promotions are a great way, not that type of cross promotion. So this is a vendor selling crosses, but it made me laugh. So guys, I am 41, I have kids, I'm a dad, so you have to have at least one dad joke for the whole weekend. I saved it till the end. So one dad joke. So cross promotions can be a really good way for you to work with other authors that have your audience. So it's like they have the audience very similar to my audience. And the thing you want to look at is authors that are about at the same level of sales as you are. If you reach out to Stephen King, it's like, hey, you want to do a cross promotion? I can send to my email list about your book. You can send about mine to yours. Stephen King might be like, this feels one-sided. Whereas if you look up books that you think, man, if that audience, if they like that book, they'd probably love my book, and vice versa, you can create these win-win circumstances. These win-win circumstances where you are promoting this book for this author because you think that holds real value for your audience. You feel like they would really benefit from this book, and vice versa. Now that author is promoting you. Cross promotions can be an incredible tool. So as you're looking, see, does this author that I'm following, whose career I wish to emulate, do they do a lot of cross promotions? Do I see them promoting other books? That's a pretty good indication that they're doing a lot of cross promotions. Cross promotions can be a great thing. So this is the last thing. So we're going to go a little bit deeper in this topic. So last but not least, if we're going to be truly students of the game, last but not least, artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence. Man, what a sound effect. How many of you guys, when you think about artificial intelligence, like this is how you feel right now, where it's like Terminator in the library, we are going to ruin all things creative, the entire publishing industry is about to be completely destroyed, AI is coming to ruin everything, doomsday is upon us. People have been talking about this day for years throughout fiction of like when the machines become self-aware, and then all of humanity crumbles. Any of you guys feel that way right now about AI? How many of you guys feel not that way, but you feel like this? I kind of want to just not even think about it. Like, it's over there, and I've heard a lot of people talking about it, and I kind of want to just stay in my lane over here. That's the non-AI lane. How many of you guys, if we're being honest, are like, I'm just opting out right now of AI? It sounds trendy, it sounds cool, and so far I've just been opting out. I've been sitting on the sideline. So, artificial intelligence. What if instead of Terminator destroying everything that we hold dear, what if it could be more like this? What if it's just our friendly companion, sitting in the park, doing life with us in whenever we choose to, and we are able to actually use artificial intelligence to enhance what we're doing, not replace it. Artificial intelligence is never going to replace the creative. It's never going to replace our role as an author. But what if we could use it to enhance what we're already doing? What if we could use it to enhance what we're already doing? So I'm going to share with you a few really, really, really good ways that you can leverage artificial intelligence in your writing career if you so choose. So one of the tools that all of you have probably heard quite a bit about is ChatGPT. ChatGPT. For any of you that are like, I've heard of this, and so write down ChatGPT. And so this is a tool that can be really, really, really effective at helping you enhance your writing. And what it can't do is spell check your slides so that if you add a slide and change the title, that you forget the R. That's on me. I changed my title of this slide earlier today and didn't proofread it. So enhance you writing with AI. Should have had AI help this slide. Clarity and coherence. There's a few things that you can do with AI that's really, really, really effective. So it can really help with clarity and coherence of your writing. It can really help with grammar and syntax. Very, very good at this. It can actually help quite a bit with descriptive language. If you want to add more descriptive language into your writing, you feel like that's an area of weakness as an author, it can actually be quite good. It can also really help with audience engagement. It can really help with audience engagement. So how do I get better hooks at the beginning? Different things. So I'm going to show you a few prompts. So the key to using artificial intelligence and using it well is you have to give it effective prompts because it is going to do what you ask it to do. And the more effective and the more clear the prompts that we give, the better the results that you are going to obtain. So let me give you a few of my favorite prompts that'll help you in your author career to help you with your writing. So here's one. I'll give you a couple with clarity and coherence. So here's a great. Please help me rephrase this paragraph to make it clearer and more concise. You can quite literally in ChatGPT take your paragraph, put the paragraph, cut and paste, and then say, please help me rephrase this paragraph to make it clearer and more concise. And it will do that. You can say, please suggest ways to improve the flow and transition between these paragraphs. Let's say you're having two paragraphs and you're like, this feels clunky. I'm not sure how to make this transition effectively. Very, very effective. Grammar and syntax. Please proofread this section and correct any grammatical errors or awkward phrasings. You'll be pretty amazed if you try a paragraph in there and ask them to do this, how effective it is with what it comes back to. Help me make the verb tenses in this paragraph consistent. Any of you ever struggle with verb tenses where sometimes as you're writing, you're like, man, I feel like I'm a little bit all over the place with this? You can put in a paragraph or several paragraphs, a full page, and say, help me make the verb tenses in this paragraph consistent. And it's really effective at helping this. Descriptive language. If you struggle and you say, I feel like my writing could use a little bit more oomph, just a little bit more, great prompt. Help me find stronger adjectives and adverbs to convey the emotions or the atmosphere of this scene. Please suggest metaphors or similes to make this description more evocative and engaging. I'm going to give you an actual example. So this top one, help me find stronger adjectives and adverbs to convey the emotions and atmospheres of this scene. I did this literally this morning. So here was the original paragraph I gave to ChatGPT. I walked out of the courtroom frustrated. I couldn't believe he was going to get away with everything he had done. It all seemed so unfair. That's not a bad paragraph. Well, it's fine. 7 out of 10. It's okay. And I said, hey, let's make this more engaging. Help me get a little bit more emotion into this. I gave that exact prompt that I highlighted for you guys. This is what it came back with. I stormed out of the courtroom seething with frustration. I was utterly appalled that he was going to get away with all the despicable things he had done. The whole situation felt outrageously unfair. How much better was that paragraph? How many of you guys like right away was like, whoa, okay. Now we're cooking with grease. This is good. This is good. This is something like you can really, and again, here's the thing. So this paragraph, this paragraph right here, to be clear, I might have taken out one or two of those adjectives or adverbs. I might have actually taken out one or two of those. So you might look at this and say, that's really good, and I'm going to remove one or two. So this doesn't mean that we turn our brains off. Using artificial intelligence doesn't mean, hey, AI, please write my book for me. It means, hey, give me some suggestions. And then you can take what you like, leave what you don't. It's about using technology to increase our effectiveness, increase our efficiency with what we do. It can also be good for audience engagement. If you're struggling, you're like, hey, can you suggest ways to hook the reader from the beginning of this chapter? You can put a chapter in, and they can give some suggestions. Here's 5 or 6 sentences that you could use to hook people from the very beginning. Please help me create a compelling opening sentence for this chapter to entice readers to continue reading. These can be really, really good prompts just to give you little sentences. So now again, this is not about us using AI to write our books. This is about us saying, hey, I've already done the hard work of writing it. Are there any small tweaks that we can do that would make our writing a little bit more powerful? And then if there's ever any areas where you feel like, this doesn't feel totally like me, this doesn't sound exactly like my voice, you take what you want and leave what you don't. Take what you want and leave what you don't. I'm gonna give you guys a quick case study. So this is not just for improving your writing. This can also be so good. This can also be so good for just brainstorming ideas. So whether or not you're thinking about, okay, I need to come up with some blog posts for the quarter. I know that here's my audience, here's their pain points, here's what they need. Oh man, what are some good ideas that might be good blog posts to write? AI is fantastic for brainstorming. There is so many different things that can make us more effective with our overall author career, not just improving our writing. So I'm gonna give you a real quick case study, and let's roll video. Whoa. I saw a couple people in their videos literally make this symbol to themselves, right? I saw a couple people in the live audience. So here's the thing. I started preparing this part. And originally, as I was brainstorming everything I was going to talk to you guys about, we realized, looking at the outline, that we had nothing in the entire time of Author Advantage Live about artificial intelligence, and it's such a big topic today. And so I was like, all right, I should probably include 10, 15 minutes on AI towards the end of it. And I had not yet done my slides, not yet written my outline. I knew I was going to talk about social media and ads and author website. And then I thought to myself, oh, this might be fun. I wonder if I put into ChatGPT the exact prompt of my talk. I wonder what it would come up with. Was that mind-blowing to anybody? Was that crazy for anybody as you looked at that? Well, here's the thing. This is one tool. I have shown you a singular tool. There are so many others out there. What if instead, any of you guys ever do presentations? Any of you guys do presentations? How many of you guys ever put together PowerPoint presentations and you struggle to find the right image? And you're like, I'm like going through, like I need a picture of a lady doing this thing and I can't seem to find one. So there's another thing called Midjourney. Midjourney, 2 words. Midjourney. And Midjourney is artificial intelligence that creates images. You pay $10 a month, you own the images afterwards, you can use them for whatever you'd like to. So what if you're struggling and you're like, man, I'm putting together this part, and the point that I'm about to make is what you measure you can grow. And I would love some kind of cartoon. And what if you are struggling to find the right image and you went to Midjourney and you were able to say, imagine a Pixar-style illustration of a boy with blonde hair standing in a cornfield. He's slightly shorter than the corn, currently holding a large ruler that's approximately the height of the corn. That look familiar from yesterday? This was Midjourney. Imagine a painting of a friendly-looking robot sitting in the park with an elderly couple. There's a lake in the background surrounded by trees. Imagine an impressionist painting of a cat wearing a pantsuit, scrolling on a cell phone. So here's the thing. All of these things start with you having the idea. And this is the misconception about artificial intelligence, is if you don't have the creative, funny idea of like, oh, you know, it'd be kind of cute in the middle of my presentation, this might be kind of a funny way to make a point, none of this exists. If you haven't already got the bones of what you're going to write, if you haven't already written your book and you're like, hey, I just want to make this a little bit better, then it's not going to exist. Artificial intelligence is not about replacing the creative. If you choose to use it, it's about enhancing. Artificial intelligence can't stand up and do the presentation. Artificial intelligence can't do all these things. Artificial intelligence isn't going to come up with a dad joke for you, but if you're like, you know, it'd be kind of a funny joke in the middle of my presentation, since I only get one dad joke for the entire time, Chandler told me you get one and that's it. What if I was to imagine a hyper-realistic photo of a vendor in a farmer's market? The vendor is standing in front of several booths in the background. He's a friendly-looking old man with a smile on his face, holding up a large wooden cross necklace that he's selling. You have to first imagine it for it to be existence. You have to first be able to imagine it and have the idea of what do I want to create? How can I use this as a tool? The key with technology is how we choose to use it. The key with technology is how we choose to use it, because the reality is every technology can be used for good or for bad. True? Every single one of these things, every technology that comes, the cell phone, the laptop, can be used for good, can be used for evil. With the cell phone, the cellular phone has made so many people in our world massively more efficient. It's also caused a lot of us to be cell phone addicts, to spend a ton of time scrolling social media, playing games, and wasting time. For some people, it's become a real negative. For some people, it's made them more efficient than they could have ever been before. Artificial intelligence is going to lead a lot of people to spend a lot of time in Midjourney creating stupid images of cats with pantsuits scrolling a cell phone. And it's also going to help a lot of us become that much more effective and that much more efficient at writing and at building our author career. So I would encourage you, whether it's artificial intelligence, whether it's building your website, whether it's planning out your social media, whether it is doing an email list, what ads do I do? Just commit to being a student of the game. Commit to being a student of the game. How can I do more of what works? How can I do more of what works? Because success leaves breadcrumbs. So I would encourage you guys, coming out of Author Advantage Live, find those authors you wish to emulate. See what they have done to be successful, and don't stop learning. Don't let this be your one learning time of the entire year for your author career, where you come to Author Advantage Live, you get everything out of it. Keep learning, keep growing, keep leaning in. Some of these things you should use, some of them you shouldn't. If all the stuff I just talked about made you uncomfortable, don't do it. But it could be a good tool for some of you.